I'm Lori Robertson with the Berkley Blend. Today joining me is Pastor Zach from Berkley First. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm Lori Robertson with the Berkley Blend. Today I am chatting with Pastor Zach from Berkley First. Thank you so much for joining me today, Pastor Zach.
It's a joy to be with you, Lori.
Very nice to meet you.
Likewise.
I did a little bit of research before we sat down today, and I noticed that you just opened your doors January of 2017. Tell me how Berkley First came to be.
I'd be glad to. There's been a Methodist presence of one way or another in Berkeley since 1929, actually. It began in a storefront church, and then they moved to a facility that they built on the location where we are now in the 1930s. Wow. That church actually closed about 3 years ago. They had been in decline for some time, read the writing on the wall, knew that they were no longer connecting with the community in the way that they had previously. And rather than eke out their existence, they had the courage to die so that something new could be birthed in that space. And they gave their building and remaining assets over to Birmingham First, which is on West Maple, who had been looking at going multi-site, expanding and creating a second campus, not just to expand their footprint, but to really connect with people that we would have never been able to connect with otherwise. And so we launched as a satellite campus of Birmingham First in January and are excitedly leaning into all that God has in store.
That is really interesting. I did not know that the church had closed for 3 years. So that really speaks volumes. It is very sad that they closed their doors, but I think that was very brave of them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Very brave, very courageous, and the Christian faith is one of death and resurrection, so it's fun to be part of giving birth to something new.
Tell me what a new parishioner of Berkley First could expect.
Sure, yeah. If someone's coming into Berkley First for the first time, you can expect to be warmly greeted at the door. You can expect parking to be slightly confusing because it's not right next to the building. It's actually on the other side of the post office. Behind the Rite Aid parking lot is our actual parking. But we've got wonderful people. It's a variety of folks, people of all different ages. There's about 75 or 80 people on a given Sunday right now. When we launched in January, we had a launch team of about 35. Wow. And so we've doubled that and are continuing to grow. The music is kind of a mix of new and old. We do some old hymns as well as new songs, something that you might hear on K-Love or even a few songs that some of our own folks have written. And that's done with a band led by our music and arts leader, Chris Freeman, who does a fantastic job. Once a month, we actually have a sitar Sunday. Chris plays the sitar.
Oh, interesting.
So we are all about worshiping God and using creative elements. We take communion every week at worship, and our communion table is open to all. You don't have to be a member of this particular church or any particular church. You don't have to have your life all in order. We believe that God's grace is available to all, and so God's table is available to all. And there's a whole lot going on throughout the week, too. We are more than just a Sunday morning venue. We have recovery groups and community groups. This summer, we've hosted a string instrument camp and several weeks of drama camp. We're also hosting the community folk concert series with the Berkeley Public Library and are having a great time with that as well.
It sounds so warm and inviting.
Thank you.
I have to say, it sounds very loving. Tell me, do you have a youth group?
We do. It's a small youth group, but they're off to a great start and are really active in the community as well. We do partner with Birmingham First, our sister campus, on some larger things. So like youth group lock-ins or retreats where we might not be able to do that on our own. We're able to plug in with a larger group of students. But we do have a youth group of students, and coming back in the fall, they'll be meeting at the church facility on Sunday nights.
What other type of events do you host?
Oh, where do we begin? We had one of our greatest surprise events was a noon Year's Eve party that we did just before we launched in January. And rather than ringing in the new year at midnight, we invited families to come on out and ring in the new year at noon. We thought we might have 20 or 25 people. We wound up with probably between 120 and 150 people there. We packed the place out. We had a bounce house in the sanctuary, in the worship space, and it was just fun. So all the time there are different events around the corner. One of our next big off-site events is our church campout that's coming up August 11th through the 13th. And that's not just for church folks, it's for anyone who wants to come. For a family of 4, it's less than $200, including food and lodging for the weekend. And it's just a great camp experience.
Where's the location?
That's at Judson Collins Center, which is in the Irish Hills south of Ann Arbor.
Oh, very nice. So it sounds like you're just so much more community-based, really, and not just your parish-based, which I love.
Yes. Yeah, the founder of the Methodist movement, John Wesley, said, "The world is my parish." And we definitely take that to heart. We want to be an asset to Berkley. We're not just interested in building our church or building our walls or our little silo. We want to be an asset to the wider community in any way that we can. One thing I didn't say about Sunday morning is that if you do come to a worship service, you can also expect good coffee. We have Great Lakes, fair trade, organic, locally roasted coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker myself, but I'm told it's delicious.
And services at 10 o'clock.
Absolutely.
Right? So what strikes me, doing my research again, things are so much more relaxed now than they were when I was growing up. Everything was so strict and so stringent. Tell me about Pub Theology.
Pub Theology is a group that we started up to really be an open door where absolutely anyone is welcome. Anyone's welcome at the church, but let's face it, some people just don't feel comfortable walking into a church building. And Pub Theology meets twice a month now. We are at Patrick J's Irish Pub just down the street on 12 Mile on the first Thursday of the month. And the third Thursday of the month, we're trying it out over at Moose Winooski's in Clawson. And they have $2 beers there. So that was the deciding factor with the group in deciding where we were going to be. And Patrick J's just is a wonderful community spot as well. That group, Pub Theology, is really just a venue for good conversation. I prep about half a dozen discussion questions, but the goal is never to get through the questions. That's just a diving board into deep waters of conversation.
How many people would you say attend?
It varies. Sometimes we have as few as 6 or 8. Sometimes we've had as many as 18 or 20. But I would say in a given week, there's probably about 10 or 12 people. And if you were to come out to Pub Theology, you could expect a crowd of probably 10 or 12. So enough people to have good conversation, people of different ages, people with different backgrounds, and not all Christians either. So different perspectives coming around the table, talking about what it means to for example, believe in something, or what it means to have truth, or what it means to disagree with someone and still love them and be in relationship together. And so all different kinds of topics, but it's always a good time and a good conversation.
I have to say I had a good chuckle. I was like, oh, this is so interesting. I love this. This is so not 1966 any longer.
It's true.
I love it. I love it. What are your events scheduled for during cruise?
Oh, we are so pumped for the cruise. And of course, in Berkley, we've got the Woodward Dream Cruise right along Woodward itself, but then the Cruise Fest the night before. And with Cruise Fest, we are actually going to have, hopefully, 2 or 3 classic cars parked on the front lawn.
Oh, cool.
We might even have it set up so that kids can come and sit in those cars and get a picture taken.
Very
It's
cool.
awesome to watch all the cars drive by, but it's nice to get up close and personal as well. We're going to have a band and have some live music there, just some kind of folky, bluesy music, and just create a wonderful space for community gathering. Feel free to put your chairs right there in front of the church. We'll have the building open for restrooms and be passing out free water bottles as well.
I love Cruise Fest. I'll get up pretty early on a Friday morning and I'll drive down to 12 Mile and chairs are already lined up.
Absolutely.
Like there are some diehards.
Yeah.
So right in front of Berkley First, that would be prime location.
It is a prime location, yeah, and you're right. If you want to get there early, or and put those chairs out, go for it.
You could totally sell those spots for charity. For charity.
There you go. There you go. We won't. Free this year. Everything's free.
Tell me about the yoga group that meets.
Yeah.
I was so impressed. You even have yoga.
Shelley Kinney is a part of our team, and she is a yoga instructor, offers a couple of different type of yoga classes, and I might be getting this slightly wrong, but I'm pretty sure she offers chair yoga and gentle hatha yoga at different times during the week. And each class ends with a time of quiet reflection and meditation. Shelley also uses Tibetan singing bowls. And it really is a wonderful time of reflection. I probably don't do as much yoga or exercise in general as I should, but we definitely want to be a space of community gathering and minister to the whole person.
What is your vision for the next 3 years?
Oh, that's an awesome question. In the immediate future, our hope is to grow to a point where we're able to offer an evening service as well. Right now, between Birmingham and Berkley First, we have 5 worship options each week, and all of them are Sunday morning.
Okay.
And at least in my interactions with the other churches, and we have great relationships with the other churches in Berkeley too, I don't think that there is a weekend evening worship option. So if your kid's got a soccer game Sunday morning, or if you're out of town and just getting back Sunday at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, or if you work a shift, maybe at Beaumont Hospital, maybe you're waiting tables, and you're just not available on a Sunday morning, we would love to offer a Sunday evening worship service. And we hope to launch that this fall or winter, assuming we have the critical mass to do so.
Well, it sounds like you're growing. Mm-hmm. So, that's very exciting. You must be very... that's just thrilling that it's done so well in such a short amount of time.
It's exciting to be a part of all that's happening in Berkeley right now, for sure.
How did you get tapped into starting Berkley First?
Sure.
Like, were you already in Birmingham and they were like, Zach, we got it. We want Berkeley. You're the man for the job.
I actually was not already in Birmingham. We Methodists are a connectional system. And when I first heard about this opportunity, I was serving a small congregation south of Ann Arbor, Emmanuel United Methodist Church in Blissfield, Michigan, and also at a church in Lambertville. And I heard that one of the larger churches in our conference, Berkley First, was thinking about launching something new, and they were curious if I would want to be a part of that. I love starting up new things. I think it's so exciting to not just plug into somewhere where they already have all their routines and everything's worked out, but to be a part of creating something fresh and different and unique.
And make it yours.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And really not just make it mine, but get a sense of what the community is like and what would be a great way to reach people where they're at and connect people with God, certainly, but also with one another. Okay. And I went into training at a church called Christ Church in Fairview Heights, Illinois, which is in the Metro St. Louis area. So I was there for a year. That church, over 20 years, had grown from having one worship service with a couple hundred people to now 4 campuses and over 2,000 people in regular weekly worship. Wow. And so I was able to spend a year there learning from the inside out how they do what they do, gearing up to come back here and help Birmingham go multi-site and plant this new Berkeley campus. And it's my hope and intention to be around for a good long time, and maybe this Berkeley campus will be the first of several, and really ignite a movement here in the Metro Detroit area.
So you live in Berkeley now?
I do, yep. I'm actually on, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm in the first house on Kipling, right behind the church. It's a super easy commute. I walk across the alley. So I don't have an excuse to be late when I'm like
Not
10
even
minutes
on a
late
snow
for
day.
something.
Not
No.
even on a snow
No.
day. You're never going to miss work. How are you liking Berkeley?
I love it. My wife Rachel and I have 4 kids. We have 7-year-old twins that go to Pattengill Elementary,
Okay.
and so they are going into 2nd grade actually, and absolutely love Berkley schools. They're both involved in scouting. My daughter is in Girl Scouts, and I'm involved in Cub Scouts with my son Sam. And we are just having such a blast. There's wonderful parks, wonderful community feel. I feel like Berkley is the best of both worlds. It very much is a small town atmosphere with a walkable downtown, but instead of being a small town surrounded by corn and soybeans, Berkley's a small town surrounded by all the best that Metro Detroit has to offer.
You could not have said that any better. Yeah, I've lived in Berkeley my whole life, so
Awesome.
I have a passion for it, and I love that you've joined us. Welcome to the community. Berkley First it's just going to grow by leaps and bounds under your leadership.
We're excited for all that God has in store.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch it grow. It's very, very cool. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was really nice meeting you. I can feel your energy. It's just been fantastic.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a joy to be with you.
Thank you.